Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today on OvaCyte. We'll just wait a few minutes there, just a few people still logging on, and we'll get started. Lovely. So we've lots of people logged on there, so it's just past 1 now. So I think we'll get going. This webinar should take us about half an hour to run through the presentation, and we'll take a few questions and a few questions on that as well. So just to introduce myself, my name is Jen. I'm the technical vet for Dublin Veterinary Supplies. I'm delighted to be joined today by Sarah O'Dwyer from Telenostic. Just to give everyone a background on our speaker, Sarah. Sarah graduated from UCD in 2004 and has spent the last 20 years working in first opinion and referral equine practice in both the Northern and Southern Hemisphere. And she also spent time in first opinion small animal practice. She currently works as a veterinary advisor to Telenostic, who are an Irish veterinary diagnostic company who manufacture the OvaCyte. And the OvaCyte, as most people on the webinar will know, is an automated fecal analyzer for horses, ruminants, and small animals. So thanks very much, Sarah, for joining us. I'll pass it over to you now. We will have questions at the end. So if anyone has any questions, you can pop them in the chat or the Q&A box, and we'll get back to them. This webinar will be recorded, so anyone who wasn't able to attend today, or anyone else in your practice who wasn't able to log on, and we will have the webinar recorded for people to refer back to. So thanks very much, Sarah, and I'll pass it over to you there now.
Thanks a million. So we'll just start off so that I'm not taking up too much of your day. This is just a webinar to introduce users to the OvaCyte EQ and LA Plus and the dual cassettes that we've just recently launched. I'm going to take it that everyone on the webinar has an OvaCyte and is familiar with it and using it. So just to take it from the OvaCyte Plus workflow, the initial workflow is very similar to what you would have been using with the 2 ml. So you're weighing out the same amount of feces, you're using the same flotation fluid and the same filter. And then the most important step, I suppose, looking at it from a veterinary point of view and as an end user myself, is this degassing step. So it's really important because the 7 ml cassette is obviously a larger chamber. It's more sensitive to those air bubbles. So while it comes with excellent sensitivity and enhanced user experience, we just have to add in this degassing step, and I'll talk you through it with a video, and I'll show you a video of the Plus. The other thing is that we now do a succussion. So we've removed the flotation with succussion, which is an active flotation. Again, it enhances sensitivity and user experience because the machine does the work for you. In total, if you look at the time for scan, because of the succussion, the actual standard scan is still 8 minutes, where you're getting a multiplication factor now of 23, and the extended scan is 18 minutes, so you're now down to a multiplication factor of 3. So really, really sensitive. You're getting a lot more capture of partial eggs with this newer technology in cassette, and a much lower limit of detection, and you're also getting 180 images. And not only that, but the Plus cassette also has 33% less plastic. I know that the Fluke Plus has already gone out, but again, that degassing step is really, really important for this larger volume cassette and the chamber design. So I'm just going to start this video and it'll just show you. I'm sure you're all very familiar again, but just to recap, you're weighing out your 3 grams of feces to as near as you can get in a representative sample, as we know from many areas within the pat of feces. You're adding your flotation fluid up to 50 grams, and then you're giving it a really, really good mix to get those eggs out from congregating together into the suspension to give you a representative sample. Then again, you're filtering. Again, make sure you're cleaning the filter with soapy water afterwards and letting it dry out completely and giving it a good tap to get those eggs through. And then you're agitating and swirling the fluid again to get a representative representative sample. So this is the degassing part. And as vets, vet nurses, techs, we're all really used to handling syringes. So it's not anything, you know, difficult. It's just an extra step. And then you're filling the cassette as usual. And again, just make sure that you're using a 20 ml syringe because it is a larger volume than you would have had before in your 2 ml. And then you're popping it on the machine and you're pressing start scan and it does the succussion for you. So you don't have to do that flotation off the device and have cassettes lying around. It's all done in one easy step. So just to get back to this degassing step again, so you're really just putting your thumb over the top and pulling back and agitating it gently to make sure that you get all those micro air bubbles away. So then the other thing just for users as we transition over to the EQ and LA Plus and the Fluke Plus, what you'll notice with your credits is that you may have 4 or 5 or 6 credits depending. So you'll have your dual EQ and LA Plus, your EQ and LA Plus, and then as we transition out the EQ and LA and Fluke, these will disappear. But at the moment, with the transition from the 2 mil to 7 mil, you will have the option to choose both. Again, as users will be familiar, you're scanning that QR code on the box of cassettes when you buy them. So then creating the scan on the web app. So you're creating scan. And again, like I said, you will have a double option here. So you will have an EQ and LA, an EQ and LA plus, Fluke and Fluke plus as we transition out. So you need to make sure that when you do the 7 mil cassette that you use the EQ and LA plus because the technology will be designed to use the 7 mil. So again, then you're entering in your owner reference like always and your animal name. And then if you want to put in a screen or a description and it will come up then on your pending scan list on your web app, and then it will be on your machine when you go to put in your scan. Then this is a new feature. So what we looked at then was how can we make the web app more user-friendly to people maybe at the front desk of the veterinary practice. So I know working in veterinary practice, owners bring in samples. You could have 4 or 5 different owners with 5 or 6 different samples. So this allows you to enter in, you know, if you've got farmer A, farmer B, and horse owner A, that you can actually put in a few scans at once with different tests and different owner references. So here we have Joe Hanley, who has heifer 1, and Sarah O'Dwyer, who has a horse, Seabreeze. They will go onto the scan list on the machine, but they're different scans. So it's just you know, an enhanced user experience on the web app at the front desk, or if the guys are down the back and they have 4 or 5 different scans from different owners. And then just moving on from that, we also then have creating batch scans for the same owners. So say you get a farmer that comes in and he's got a few pens of yos and you want to create pen 1, 2, 3, or 4. Well, then you would use the batch scan. And this is where you're doing a create scan. And you're choosing then your single and your EQ and LA plus, and then ovine plus and batch, and then the batch description. And then you put in the owner reference again, and then the animal name or pen 1, and then you're going down to owner reference 2. And then these will all be reported on the same PDF so that you don't have to print out 7 different PDFs for 7 different animals for the same owner. So then creating it on the Plus Scan on the OvaCyte machine for all the users, it's very, very similar as to what you're used to. Instead, you're going scan, and then you're going single, and you're going new scan, and then you're putting in your reference here and your animal, but you're choosing EQ and LA plus, and then from that, you're using equine, bovine, or ovine, and then you're pressing start scan. So really similar. It's just, I can't stress enough that when you have the 7 mil cassette in your hand, that you go for the plus. You click plus. And then again, very similar to scans that are created in the web app. When you go into scan, you will press single and you'll either go new scan if you're putting in new scan, or if you've put it in on the web app, the name will be here. And then you just click on it. Everything will be already entered and you just press start scan. So now we're just moving on to the dual cassette. So just for users, we're calling this channel A and channel B, not rather than side A, side B. They're very clearly delineated and marked for people. They've got 2 injection portals down at the bottom, so similar to the 7mm cassette, just in half. You can select to use either channel as you wish, or both, one after the other. So if you only have one scan to do, you can use side A or side B and then leave the other side if you know you have a sample coming in the afternoon, or you can use them one at each one consecutively. The scan time for A and B is 18 minutes, so then 9 minutes for one or the other, and the multiplication factor is 7.5. Really important that the preparation is the very same as the EQ and LA plus. So that degassing step is really, really important. Also, picking the right cassette and the right test on the web app and on the machine. It is speciation compatible, and I'll explain what that means in a few minutes, so just bear with me. Improved workflow, you can prep 2 samples at once and then load and go, and it'll run the 2 tests consecutively, and obviously less plastic. So 66% less plastic than running one on a 2mm cassette. So again, you're going to get your Joule, your cassettes, and it's a separate flotation fluid. So it has a nice gray marker here on the side, so you can delineate between the two using for the plus or your 2mm or your EQ and LA Joule. And again, once you scan, you'll see the credits knock up here and you'll be able to use them. So then if you're inside in the office or down in the prep room and you want to create the scan on the web app directly, oops, I stopped that, did I? Sorry. You're going to go to create scan, Joule EQ and LA plus, then you say Joule bovine if you've maybe got one cow scan or cattle scan or heifer scan to do, and we'll say it's Farmer Brown. So you put that in, and then say he has another scan, another sample, but it's actually a horse scan. Then you can put in Farmer Brown and the name of the horse. So again, if I was to pick Joule ovine here, a speciation, when I show you the speciation video, you'll be able to see it in action. But what I like about this is that you can do, oops, I'll just play that again. You can choose ovine, bovine, 2 ovine, 2 bovine, 1 equine, 1 ovine. So you don't have to commit. And you also don't have to fill in the second scan at this time. You can just press save scan. The other thing to remember is that you don't choose the scan or the cassette channel side when you're putting it in on the web app. You don't need to do that. You just need to load them in like this, and then they'll come up on the machine, and that's where you choose A or B. Whoops, it's frozen on me. Sorry. So then if you want to create the Joule scan on the analyzer, it's really intuitive. And again, anyone who's used the machine will fly through this. So you're pressing scan, and instead of single, you're pressing Joule. And then you want to press A, or A only, B only, or A then B. So you press A and you can press start scan. Or if you go to A then B, I have a video of it. It will prompt you to fill in A and then fill in B. So you go scan, Joule, oops, my videoing wasn't great there. A then B, new scan. So it's going to ask you to put in your owner reference. And then if you want to put in a screen, I like to put in the description as to why I'm testing, just so I have it, and then move to B, and then you're putting in your next and choosing again whether it's Joule ovine, bovine, or equine, and putting in your next animal. And then start scan. And then if we're choosing from, say, someone out the front desk has created the scan for us on the computer, and we get to the machine and we have our cassette prepared with A and B, then you're going to go to scan, Joule, A then B, and then the list will come up whether you want to put in the heifers in the wood paddock in A, and then Taylor in B, and then you're pressing start scan. So really, really intuitive. It's actually very easy to use. again, this is just, we can send on this will be available to users. So it's just what I did there now. It's picking it from the machine if someone has entered it in on their phone or on their computer. The reporting is similar. So if you've done a dual scan, the results will come up A, then B. But once you come back out into the home screen, the list of results will be there on the machine like you're used to. And then on the web app and on your phone, it will be the very same as you're used to, going in and just hitting results and then scrolling down through to find the result that you want. So then finally, we're nearly there, just speciation. So obviously OvaCyte is the first point of care solution globally to be able to identify Haemonchus contortus at an egg level and Nematodaris batis. And I'm delighted to say that our paper has just been accepted on Friday for publication in support of that. It's really quite rapid. So you get the results in 10 minutes and it can be run retrospectively. So what that means is that you can run a scan on your sheep. And then if you think that the egg count is high or you're worried, you can then retrospectively hit speciation, be that at the same time, be it an hour later, be it a day later. So you, even if you have the sample thrown in the bin, that you can actually go on and speciate retrospectively. And at the moment, we're also looking at coccidia. So we work very closely with UCD and SLU. So that's very exciting. So the technology is able to tag out the Haemonchus versus other Strongyle populations within the egg population, and it's also able to speciate out Nematodaris batis. So again, that's enhancing your knowledge of the population of parasites on your sheep farm. And then this is just how you buy the speciation credits. So it's going to be again on your dashboard. You're going to go into store, and then you're going to go options and put in your email address and your business name and then your VAT number, and then you're going to buy speciation credits, and then they will come up on your user interface. And then how to use it. So this is what I was saying, you can use it retrospectively or you can do it at the time of the scan. So if we go to create scan, and then we go to EQ&LA plus, and we hit Ovine plus. Every time you hit Ovine plus, whether it's on the dual or the single, you will be prompted if you want to do speciation at the time of the scan, or you want to wait to see what result you get, whether it's worth doing the speciation. Okay. And then in results history, if you can come up here, we didn't do speciation, you just hit speciation scan and run analysis. So that's on a scan that maybe was done this morning, and then you said, yeah, look, I want to do speciation on it and get a bit more information. And then this is just a report template. So the Haemonchus contortus will be reported as a percentage. It won't be a defined number, and that's just to account for egg morphology and overlap with Ostratasia. And then the Nematodaris again will be a percentage of Nematodaris batis. And that's it. So I'm really thankful that you took time out of your lunch break and busy day to listen, and I hope it was helpful. And please reach out. I should say as well that Duggan's, in collaboration with SCOPS, we recently did a really good webinar about Haemonchus contortus, and I would urge everyone to read it or to watch it in order to get the most out of speciation and learn how it can help you with your clients and on your farms.
Lovely. Thanks very much for that, Sarah. And again, just to reiterate, thanks to everyone for joining on during lunchtime. This webinar, as I said, was recorded, so I welcome everyone when they get the recording to have a look back at any pieces that maybe you'd want to go over again. With that then as well, I suppose from a Duggan's perspective, just to give a little summary on what Sarah's gone through there. So I suppose there's 2 new products available with OvaCyte at the moment. So we have our EQ&LA Plus cassette, which Sarah went through. It's quite similar to the traditional EQ&LA 2 ml cassette, and just some slight changes. And then the second product is our dual cassette. So as Sarah went through there, there's a channel A and channel B, or 2 sides to that cassette, and a different flotation fluid that comes with those cassettes as well. There's 2 new products, and I suppose they're just offering less plastic and increased sensitivity, and just moving on with the changes that are coming with OvaCyte. With those 2 new products then, as Sarah said, they do offer ovine speciation, I would encourage you to have a look at the webinar we've already done on speciation and the importance of that, or what extra information that can give us for our ovine patients as well. A few other things to note, I suppose, with the dual cassette, it's channel A and channel B, so it's two separate channels for it. As Sarah said, you can run ovine on one side and bovine on the other. And you can run one side and leave the other side to be ran, in a few days' time, or when you need to run a test again. So it's not a case that you need to run two tests at once. It's just that it gives you that opportunity or that possibility as well. And with that, then, in terms of preparation of the samples, as Sarah said, there's not much change or much a difference, but there are two kind of important steps. The first one is the degassing, which Sarah showed a video of holding your thumb on the top of the syringe and drawing back and shaking the sample or agitating it to reduce air bubbles in the sample. And then the second piece is the succussion, or the active flotation mechanism that occurs on the machine, as opposed to passive flotation that you would be used to up to this point as well. The videos that Sarah showed there during that webinar will be available as well. So we have done some voiceovers for those and have sent them out to people in some of our email communications. So videos are available to help everyone with the transition over if there's anything that anyone is unclear about. I'll just check here and see if there's any questions in the chat box or the Q&A box at the moment. Have you anything else to add there, Sarah, to that, or anything else that might be relevant for people watching in?
No, I think we've covered everything.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. That's great. A few questions just coming in here now. So someone has asked, can the speciation be done weeks or months later?
Yes. So yeah, it can definitely be done, and definitely months later. We store the images. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect. That's great. So it is possible to go back, as Sarah showed in one of those videos, it is possible to do that retrospectively. So after you've seen your results, you can go back.
The caveat there is that obviously if you've got 2 mil, the question is based on, can we speciate from the 2 mil cassette? No, it's only the 7 mil. So any ones that you've done in the last couple of months, unfortunately, it's an improved technology. So it's only on the 7 mil.
Yeah, great point. So only on the new EQLA plus 7 mil cassette and the dual cassette can you do speciation, but you could go back and retrospectively speciate a scan that has been run on one of those. On one of those cassettes. Perfect. Someone else has asked how long to run a test on the plus, and can we not have cassettes queuing? So how does that work then?
The cassette, so the standard scan on the plus is 8 minutes, and then the extended is 18 minutes. So similar to your 2 mil. So you could have one cassette probably pre-loaded and ready to go, but there's no option to skip flotation anymore. And what I would suggest is definitely, because of the effect that the salt solution has on egg morphology after a period of time, that really you shouldn't be, even if, with the old cassette, floating more than 2 or 3 means that you might not get the best egg morphology, especially for strongyloides species. So no, unfortunately, you can't float off the device, but as an end user and having used it, the succussion makes it a much, it's a really good improvement on it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And again, succussion is flotation, but it's active flotation. So it's just another method to get those eggs to rise up and where the machine can see them.
Yeah, but the overall scan time, is actually not affected if you look at the workflow.
Yes.
And you're just getting a much better, a multiplication factor of 3, especially if you're doing this for a post drench. You're not going to get a multiplication factor of 3. You'd have to do 5 McMaster slides to even come close to a multiplication factor of 3. So I think that's going to be a big win. Personally, doing fecal egg reduction testing and monitoring for resistance and drench testing, I think that's where the plus comes into its own based on any other technology that I'm aware of.
Yeah, so that's a great point. So I suppose increase in sensitivity is
Mm,
really, really important, and that's what you're getting with the plus cassette or that. That's
absolutely.
great. Yeah. Just another question then, for you, Sarah. For the plus and the dual scan, do they automatically do the extended scan, or do you need to select an option for extended scan, or how
So
does that work?
again, similar to the 2 mil cassette, it will finish the standard scan, and unless you prompt, so it will continue on with the extended unless you finish it. So
Okay.
again, if you don't have time to come back to the machine, it will just continue on, or you can end it after the standard
Lovely. So
scan. Yeah,
similar to how that worked
yeah,
previously.
yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, I don't think is there any other questions? Just another one there. Can you run a fluke and a worm on the dual cassette together?
No.
No, you can't. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't have it all. Not yet.
Not yet. Perfect. So again, you can run a bovine and an ovine side by side, or an equine or an ovine,
Yeah.
but you can't run a fluke and a worm. So you can only do the worm samples on the dual at the moment.
Yeah, and as well, just remember the Fluke Plus is the most sensitive test out there for
Yeah,
fluke, on the market in regards to sedimentation. So it's got an EPG, cutoff EPG of 3. So, highly sensitive again for fluke. So I'm not sure. I don't collaborate with the R&D department every week. So yeah,
yeah.
it can be on the ask list for Christmas.
Lovely. We'll watch this space for that. And then lastly, I suppose just for Duggan's customers in Ireland, the 2 mil EQ and LA is out of stock at the moment. So what we're doing is we're transitioning and moving. So your new version of the 2 mil cassette is going to be the 7 mil EQ and LA plus, or you will have the option of the dual. So they're available on the portal as well. And just another point then, another little question about, we mentioned about the different flotation fluid that comes with the dual cassette. So someone's asked, can you use the old fluid, or how does that work?
It's not, no, I wouldn't. And the reason being is just the dual cassette is obviously different, well, anatomically. And so there is a surfactant added to the dual cassette. So just to help with surface tension. So
Yeah.
no, it won't work. That you won't be able to use the normal flotation fluid with the dual.
Okay, perfect. And someone else has asked there just about, is it possible to get access to that webinar we did with Scops or that? If you could give us an email, cpd@dugganvet.ie, and we'll see, can we get a copy of that, a recording of that webinar over to anyone who wants to have a look at it. As Sarah said, that would be a good one to look at the speciation side of things, or that. So it's just 1:30 there, guys. So I think if that's all our questions, we might leave it there for the moment, and hopefully everyone can have a little bit of time for lunch as well. As mentioned, this webinar is recorded. If there's any other questions afterwards, please give us a shout as well. And yeah, if anyone has a need for anything else from us, as I said, just contact us. And we'll get the recording out to everyone who's registered for the webinar. So hopefully people can have a look if they want to look back at anything Sarah's run through or missed anything. So thanks very much, Sarah, for joining
Thank you.
us today. Lovely. Thank
Okay,
you.
guys, thanks so much. Bye.